Black Ops 6 is promising to bring a lot of things to the COD franchise, both new and returning features and items, but today I want to take a bit of time to talk about the opposite side of that coin, discussing a few things that it won't have at launch or shortly thereafter. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Anything in particular you're surprised to see on this list, anything you hope will be coming at launch, whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe for more Black Ops 6 coverage. This upcoming month is when things start to ramp up with a multiplayer reveal and beta to follow, so we're going to be getting into prime Black Ops 6 territory here, and I'd love to have you in the community. For now though, let's get into it. Number one, this point is mostly recap, but just for clarity and the sake of being thorough, carry forward will not be something that is going to be there at launch for Black Ops 6. No skins, no previous weapons, no previous maps, no previous operators, none of those 1,000 plus camos we have currently will be transferring over to Black Ops 6. I'll say that of the things that carried forward from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, camos not carrying over are probably the things that I'm personally bummed out the most about, but that's the case that happens this year. It's going to be to avoid bloat of everything all in the mainline game. Warzone will still have everything once that integration happens at Season 1, likely near the end of November, so you'll still have access to all of your Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons and such, but just not in that Black Ops 6 offering. I'm personally curious to see if we'll end up seeing camos from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 be applicable on Black Ops 6 weapons and vice versa when it comes to Warzone. I mean, initially it was mentioned last year with carry forward that you wouldn't be able to have some camos like event camos from Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weapons transferring back and forth, and there was also even that speculation for a while that Modern Warfare 3 camos wouldn't be backwards compatible to Modern Warfare 2 weapons, but that was later altered, and we clearly see that today you can use everything across any weapon, just not the mastery camos. So with everything on the same engine, my fingers are crossed that at least in Warzone, that same thing can apply between Modern Warfare to Black Ops weapons and camos. But we'll see. Anyways, while we're at it, while we're talking about carry forward and not being a thing, there are still a few footnotes on that will carry over. Double XP tokens, while not confirmed 100% just yet, I'm imagining this is going to be something that does actually, air quote, carry forward. We saw them explicitly carry over this year from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, visually and all, but they also in the Warzone 1 era were connected through Warzone, where even if you didn't see them show up in your Black Ops Cold War or Vanguard application menus, you could boot up Warzone, then jump over to whichever title you were playing, and the effects would be applied there as well. So with everything on one engine, seeing the visual continuity through the COD HQ as well as historical precedent across sub-franchise years, seems like this will happen again. COD points also will be transferring, but if it's any indication, the shop likely won't be enacted until Season 1 like prior years. But one thing to bear in mind with COD points in particular is that while they do transfer, they're still platform specific. So like my balance, for example, on PlayStation 5 is different on PC, but the balance will transfer from game to game only on those respective platforms. But anyways, let's talk about gameplay related stuff. Before you even get into the game, don't expect a brand new user interface, a UI or UX. That isn't going to be coming at launch of Black Ops 6 either. The sort of Huluification of COD menus in the COD HQ is something that naturally not everyone likes. Modern Warfare 3 made some adjustments to it with a launch, and then a few further adjustments later on in the year in the way of like making private match map listings, having a full listing including vertical columns instead of just one long horizontal line. Like, it made changes like that. And Black Ops 6 is going to do similar things, but it's not going to completely redo the UI that we have right now. We have a few screenshots already from behind the scenes showcases that the UI is a bit different and a few things were changed, but again, don't go into Black Ops 6 expecting a whole brand new UI that fixes everything. From the behind the scenes stuff, you'll see it's a bit more user-friendly, it seems, with like in-menu screenshots showcasing that your daily challenges are still in that upper left. Your upper middle still has those tabs of play, weapons, operators, battle pass, customize, and store. You still have your widgets in the upper right for the COD HQ, but you've got a bit more open space on the characters of the lobby. You have party indicators on the player listing to the right, and a less intrusive double XP listing in the bottom right. Your gunsmith preview has a few similarities, but perhaps is better laid out compared to who you may ask, with attachments still being horizontal at the bottom there, but a bit more pleasing to look at and well formatted in terms of the overall display of it. So while some of your UI may be changed, there's still plenty of elements of the past that will persist. Starting Don't go expecting that full overhaul of that. The seasonal leveling system is also something that you can't expect in Black Ops 6 because it's not going to be there, which I think is a good thing. I mean, we've touched on this a few times, but I'm excited. There's no more seasonal artificial progression with Black Ops 6. As we mentioned, the classic prestige system is back when it comes to Black Ops 6, meaning 10 prestiges, 55 levels each, 1,000 levels after that in the Master Prestige grind, all of which available on day one. So if you're a huge grinder, this is something that you can maybe complete it in a week, 2 weeks, a month, or you can take your time and maybe not even complete it in a whole year. Maybe you breeze through your first 5 prestiges in a week and decide for the next year, yeah, I'm good. I don't want to prestige again. It's all up to you, and the player has full control. You no longer have to wait 2 months for an additional 200 levels to be added as a new max level, something that I always kind of thought was an artificial, almost manipulation of elongating player time. But Black Ops 6 is that first game since 2018 and Black Ops 4 where you don't have a seasonal prestige system. An additional thing that won't be in Black Ops 6 at day one is something that may surprise you, but ground war. I'm personally both surprised and not surprised as to how many comments have asked in the last couple of weeks if there's going to be ground war. As a fellow ground war fan, I loved the mode since Modern Warfare 2019, and honestly, I feel like as ironic as it is, it was kind of a more chill gameplay experience, even though you have that chaos of higher player counts. But Black Ops 6, unfortunately, will not feature ground war maps, at least as of right now. Not sure any reasoning, whether to focus either more on the singular core gameplay offering or perhaps as a more unique feel with the maps, given that ground war is also seen in Warzone as points of interest, so who knows. But yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like the 24v24, upwards of 32v32 combat is in the cards this year for Black Ops 6 with ground war or war as of this year. Another thing not in Black Ops 6 multiplayer is the options to turn off Omnimovement. Omnimovement is going to be that core gameplay set this year and perhaps going forward, but unlike some of the things like the intelligent movement systems, there won't be any way to turn them off. Intelligent movement is an accessibility feature, something that comes along with 3 specific settings that you can fine-tune to however you like. You can turn off one of them, you can turn off 2, you can turn off all 3, or have all 3 of them on. Doesn't matter. But the Omni movement, that is something that is the fundamentals of the gameplay and the mechanic set at hand in Black Ops 6, and you will not be able to turn that off once jumping into it. Ranked play is also something that will not be, at least historically speaking, there at launch. For Black Ops 6, around that time is probably when you'll start to see ranked play for big map in Warzone, so Urzikstan having its ranked play. So on the other side of the coin, you'll end up having some ranked play experience, but for those that are interested in like the CDL rule sets and things like that, that won't be there at launch either for Black Ops 6. Another thing that I wouldn't expect is real weapon names. Whether licensing rights or to avoid any potential legal issues, it's probably not going to happen. There was a report of someone who played early saying that some of the names are the same as their real-life counterparts, and while I legally cannot comment on the state of the game when I played a handful of matches in early June, I'll give context that every single game that I've played in an early state for now the better part of a decade, every game has had in development real-life names that don't make it into the full release of the game. So while some of that reporting may or may not be correct, I wouldn't expect it to stick come even the beta, let alone launch. But who knows? I'd be totally fine with being incorrect on that one, and they actually go back with some of those real life naming counterparts. But anyways, don't expect that. Another thing not to expect that won't be there at launch is changes in skill-based matchmaking. Again, another one that I'd be perfectly fine with being wrong on, but let's be honest with ourselves here at this. We talked about it recently, we've beat the dead horse, so I won't stay too long on this one, but especially with the recent white page discussion released by Activision and the COD team last week, as much as it is annoying and I'd still love for changes to be made, I'm not expecting anything to happen with skill-based matchmaking at this point. They really seem to, especially in that white page discussion, double down on the effects of having it in play, where they said that they lost a tremendous amount of that sample size in terms of player count and time spent in game for those that ended up being affected by that reduction in the matchmaking balancing. So that's something that, again, as much as I'd love for it to be just a chill gaming experience, ping over everything else, there is absolutely going to be some sort of manipulation in that matchmaking system come the Black Ops 6 launch. Another change, and the final thing we'll talk about in regards to multiplayer, comes down to looping kill streaks. Based off of the reveal and what we saw from some of the behind the scenes discussions from Treyarch, score streaks are going to be returning fundamentally. You're not going to have the ability to toggle score streaks versus kill streaks, but while you can end up getting all of your stuff via score streaks, you're not going to be able to loop those score streaks, so that say if you get an advanced UAV counter counter UAV, advanced UAV. You can't loop back around after you get that advanced UAV to, in another 500 score, get an additional UAV on top of that. That's just going to be a one and done thing with the life. I personally would love to see it loop for at least non-lethal streaks. I can understand why you'd want to mitigate streak spam per se, but I also don't think with the matchmaking in place, you're going to get a lot of streak spam to begin with when everyone is artificially match made together to be competitive. So that's something that I don't personally agree with that, but that's something that as of right now, that's the decision in place for multiplayer. Now, jumping over to a couple of different, like, not random, but not necessarily as focused items, one thing that will not be coming into Black Ops 6 at launch is a campaign full of solely linear campaign missions. It's already been described that we're not going to have every single mission just simply be A to B, but instead we're going to have a sort of more open world, in theory per se, approach to gameplay missions. And it appears that it's not going to be the same way as the open combat that we had in Modern Warfare 3, which, as I've stated before, I think that's good. I think that as a result of a shortened development time for the game to have to be ready to launch, that a really cool idea that Sledgehammer was trying to do with this was kind of an unfortunate casualty of just having to get something done. So therefore we had Spec Ops in a campaign format, whereas if you look at Black Ops Cold War, the mission Desperate Measures, where you had to infiltrate the Lubyanka building, that was a perfect example of how I think COD can do sort of open combat missions, where there's the agency of choice that the player is afforded, and you can go about it in a number of different ways. A to B isn't always going to be the same. The ending points on how it progresses the storyline, though, likely will be. So that's something that is cool to see, and you're not going to have at day one is just A to B missions throughout that entire campaign. You're going to be able to play it differently than your friend may be able to play it. And the final thing for at launch, not to expect, this might sound like a no-brainer, but DMZ. Again, kind of surprised by how many comments I see asking for the return of, or hoping to see the return of DMZ in the foreseeable future, but that unfortunately doesn't seem like the case at all, which I'm honestly kind of surprised by. I feel like the extraction genre is still an up-and-coming genre, and that for once Call of Duty was actually on the sort of innovative trail of that, where they could have been an early adopter of the extraction mode. And I think that DMZ was a very well done casual entry into that extraction shooter genre. But even given that Infinity Ward kind of abandoned it after season, what, like season 4, there unfortunately doesn't seem to be any sort of signs of resuscitating that or bringing it back. So I'd love to see DMZ return, but I wouldn't expect it here with day one or any capacity really with Black Ops 6. Now, later on down the line, there's also another thing to talk about, like the second air quote launch of Black Ops 6 with the integration into Warzone. One thing not to expect, at least at the moment, to not get your hopes up, is a new Warzone map at the Season 1 launch. As we've seen with Al Mazrah, as we saw with Urzikstan, Season 1 brought along a new map to come along with the new integration of Warzone, but it seems like, for whatever reason, some development was stalled, adjusted in timetable, where Verdansk was rumored to be returning with Black Ops 6, but it doesn't appear to be doing so as of the Season 1 launch for Black Ops 6. So that's something that'll come later on down the line, but again, just kind of as an extra footnote, that's something for the Warzone Black Ops 6 launch. Don't expect that to be coming either. But anyways, that is where we're at. That's a few things that you should be aware of that are not going to be coming to Black Ops 6 in various capacities, but let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of this list? Is there something you're hoping it does make it to the launch of Black Ops 6? Let me know. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Black Ops 6 as we gear up for a very busy month ahead with a lot of official reveals upcoming and the multiplayer reveal at the end of the month. I'd love to have in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.